Homelessness, written by Reed Works. Homelessness is an issue that affects people of every age and from every country. If you walk down the street in many big cities in the United States, you might notice people sleeping on the sidewalk or begging for food or money. These individuals are very visible to passerby, and it is difficult to ignore them. But there are also homeless people who do not sleep on the streets. They are not as visible to the public eye, but they are also homeless. These people often spend their nights sleeping in shelters, which provide food, rooms, and often a variety of social services, like daycare. We might not see these people on the streets, but it does not mean that they aren't suffering. When thinking about homelessness, one of the first questions that might come to mind is, why are people homeless? People become homeless for a variety of reasons, often outside of their own personal control. Two key reasons have been identified on why people become homeless. The first is a lack of affordable housing. The second is poverty, or the condition of being poor. The government is usually responsible for providing affordable housing to people and families in need. It builds large apartment buildings or housing developments for people who cannot afford to live elsewhere. Sometimes there is not enough affordable housing for all the people who need it. Those who are unable to secure housing may become homeless. Homelessness and poverty are quite clearly linked. Poor people must often choose between such important things as buying food or paying for medical care versus paying the rent. When poor people are faced with these difficult decisions, housing is often the first expense to be dropped because it generally requires the largest amount of money. Many of the homeless in America are simply unable to find jobs due to a lack of opportunity. Others are mentally ill or addicted to drugs. Still others who are homeless have previously relied on public assistance but have lost that assistance for one reason or another. Homelessness rises when people are unable to find or keep jobs, but it also affects people who are not even employed in the first place. Children under 16 years old. According to a report in 2014 by the National Center on Family Homelessness, 1 in every 30 children experienced homelessness that year. As minors, children under 16 are not legally allowed to work. Most families that experience homelessness are made up of a mother and her children. Some adults in homeless families in the United States are working, yet the wages are often not enough to support the various needs of a family, like health care, food, and shelter. Furthermore, many families try to stay out of shelters. Shelters can be noisy, overcrowded, and stressful places for both children and parents. These families would often rather stay in the homes of friends or relatives, or even sleep in their cars. Families that experience homelessness in any situation are under a ton of stress due to the lack of stability and privacy. There are no simple solutions to this major social issue, but homelessness affects too many people around the world to be ignored.